And welcome, everybody, to the 124th episode of the Fact Is Podcast. We're your hosts, Nate Moses.
124, and I'm Ryan Mays.
Appreciate everybody jumping in this week. Thank you all so much for everyone who is coming by tonight. Can't thank you all enough. Everybody on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching us live, can't thank you enough. Thank you all so much.
Hey, quick question.
Yo, what's up?
Do you think we should start going live on Twitter?
It's actually not a bad idea. We probably should create a Twitter account and start tweeting.
I think we should get on that this week.
Tweet.
Tweet.
Elon Musk stepped down as the CEO. Put a woman in charge. I don't know exactly her name.
World Economic Forum.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, okay, way to start this episode out on a dull moment, Jesus.
Never a dull moment here on the Fact Is Podcast.
Never. Real quick, so before we get started, just want to let everybody know.
Oh, no.
We have...
No.
We have a board. On this board, we have the articles we're going to be going over tonight, a little bit of lists, and then we also
more importantly,
have...
it says like, comment, share, follow.
That means do that on all of our
Shameless
platforms.
plugs.
Shameless plugs. At The Fact Is, because that's basically where we have it everywhere. So what we're going to do to start this episode out tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about Trump's town hall. So he had a little bit of a discussion there, and that's something we want to touch up on and make sure you all get to see. So, Ryan, ready to go into it?
Blast off.
Blast off. Let's hear it.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
will you pardon the January 6 rioters who were convicted of federal offenses?
I am inclined to pardon many of them. I can't say for every single one because a couple of them probably they got out of control. But, you know, when you look at Antifa, what they've done to Portland, and if you look at Antifa, look at what they've done to Minneapolis and so many other places. Look at what they did to Seattle. And BLM, many people were killed. These people, I'm not trying to justify anything, but you have two standards of justice in this country, and what they've done, and I love that question, because what they've done to so many people is nothing. And then what they've done to these people, they've persecuted these people. And yeah, my answer is I am most likely, if I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very, and it'll be very early on. And they're living in hell right now.
You defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said if you're a star, you are, and I said women let you. I didn't say you grab, I said women let. You know, you didn't use that word, but if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for 1,000,000 years, this is the way it's been. I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to, but if you're a famous person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are
you were
stars,
asked in the deposition,
people
do you
that are
consider
rich,
yourself to be a star,
people
and you
that are
said
powerful, they tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. Just so you understand, I had every right to do it. I didn't make a secret of it. You know, the boxes were stationed outside of the White House. People were taking pictures of the GSA of the various people.
I got to stop you right there, though, because the
moving.
Presidential Records Act, which is not well known to a lot of people, I read it. It does not say that you can take documents with you. It says actually that they are the property of the federal government.
It says you talk, you negotiate, you make a deal. It's not criminal, by the way. The Presidential Records Act is not criminal.
Did. So that was pretty interesting. You know, as much as people hate Trump, and, you know, I'll even say I'm not the biggest fan of him, right? He has some points there. you know, when you are rich or famous or you have a lot of money, it tends to play in your favor. So, I mean, you know, and I would say that being a rich or famous and potentially, you know, attractive individual, yeah, you do have, you know, so I understand where he's trying to defend himself there. I'm not going to defend his words, right? His actual used words, but I can understand where he's coming from in that sense. With everything else, you know, he did what he could to try to keep a balanced area in that town hall. So I feel like he did the best he could, and I don't think he did horrible. I mean, I like his January 6th approach, you know. Yeah, some people deserve to be pardoned, like, you know, the shaman that we've seen new video footage on. You know, obviously he wasn't a threat. He was trying to help and doing more for the congressional individuals that were there instead of harming them like we were first thought to believe. But then other individuals who did cause chaos and hurt people, yeah, maybe they do deserve to go to jail, prison. So I don't know. I think he did an all right town hall right there.
Actually,
from that.
So I got to watch a large portion of it. I didn't watch it in its entirety, but I did get to watch a large portion. He actually conducted himself better than I've seen him conduct himself, maybe ever. Because you know how he is normally. He just spouts off at the mouth. He has no control over what comes out of like his mouth, and most of the time it's a really bad situation whenever he gets behind a mic or behind a keyboard.
Right.
However, in that town hall, he made a lot of really good points. And, you know, he said some things that really did make a lot of sense. I mean, the things that he went over, like especially like the Ukraine and the Russian war, they were trying to corner him and to get him to say, do you want Russia to win this war? Do you want Ukraine to win this war? And he's like,
just sad.
I just want people to stop dying.
Right.
That's a great answer.
I think that was the best moment of the town hall.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. And then they also tried to pin the January 6th stuff. She was like, why did it take you 3 hours to put out a response to what was going on? He was like, hold on, should I pull it out? I should pull it out. And he had like transcripts from his tweets at the time. And like everything started going down at 2 o'clock. At 2:15, he had put a tweet out.
Yeah.
At 2:30, he had put another tweet out. And he's like, and they took it down. Why did they take it down? I don't know. Maybe because it was so good. So he had some of those moments in there as well. But like, he did a really good job. And somebody asked him, they were like, how would you tackle inflation? He said, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
You bring down the cost of fuel, everything else costs come down.
Which is actually funny because I saw an article earlier today where the Biden administration actually approved of a new pipeline. So, you know, it's pretty interesting there. What's up, Dre? Appreciate you dropping by. Thank you, sir. Oh, goodness. What was his nickname?
Educated source close to the material. There's the educated source.
Close to the material. Love you, Dre. What's happening? But no, yeah, I mean, so it's funny because, you know, he did do very well at this one. I mean, I have to give him props. He killed it at this.
The crazy part is it was a CNN town hall.
And that's tough.
And a CNN anchor, and the crowd was on his side.
Yeah.
And another thing that he pointed out about the January 6th thing is that January 4th, he reached out to Nancy Pelosi and said, I've got the National Guard on standby. Let me know if you need them. And she declined. January 5th, he followed up with her and said, do you need me to deploy the National Guard?
Right.
And she declined. So what happens if she says, what happens if she says, yes, we need the National Guard?
It would have played well in his favor.
The January 6th riot would have never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it would have basically ceased to exist.
He had 10,000 troops on standby. Could you imagine?
And she didn't let them
10,000 troops were deployed to January 6th. There would be no riot.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're 100% correct.
There would be no riot. Everybody would be like, oh, the military's here.
Well, we're out.
Well, we're going to stand here. Yeah. Let's go Trump. That's what they would do.
Yeah, because what else are you going to do? I mean, that's,
Yeah, so. You're not going head-to-head with the military.
No, you're not dumb enough to do. Well, some people are dumb enough to do that.
I doubt it very seriously.
I would.
But that, and get out your tin hat, boys. But the Ray Epps thing, that just kind of solidifies that I don't think that maybe they planned for it to get as big as they did,
Right.
or as it did, but they definitely planned something. And like, why is the QAnon shaman catching the fall for this when they got this Ray Epps guy on film saying, we're going into the Capitol, we're going to storm it, we're going to do all these things, and there's no court case pending against him, there's no investigation into him. Like, was he an FBI agent? Was he an FBI plant? Like,
Right.
dude, it's starting to look worse and worse.
Every day.
They did get him with the they couldn't get a correct view on his abortion take. He kind of stumbled around that answer.
Yeah, he did. And he basically just threw it back on Dems and was like, well, the Democrats are evil because they want to abort all the way up to Earth.
But if I'm not mistaken, Ground News actually covered this. Didn't they talk about how Trump was not in favor of like DeSantis's strict
He said it was too
6-week
harsh.
abortion? It
Yeah.
was too harsh. Yeah. So I mean, like you can kind of get an understanding of where he
What
stands
you forget,
there.
though, is that Trump was a liberal.
Yeah.
He was a
at one
a
point in his
Democratic
life.
donor. Like, he donated to Bill Clinton's
For
campaign.
a long time.
He donated to Gore's campaign.
Gore.
Like, he was a registered Democrat for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
And now he's viewed as being like so far right you can't stand it. But if you like actually get down to his belief sets and what he talks about, is he really that far right?
I
Or is
think
it
he's
just the
pretty
people that support him?
I think he's pretty close to the middle, honestly. I mean,
I think he's middle right leaning.
yeah, I'll give you
Um,
that. Yeah.
But I wouldn't call him far right.
I wouldn't call him far right. I mean, because again, when you're speaking out against another prominent potential candidate for the Republican Party, being Ron DeSantis, I mean, yeah, you're showing that like, hey, I'm not that far. Like, that's a little too harsh even as a Republican,
Yeah.
right? Let's bring it back a little bit. So,
And he still thinks the election is stolen.
does
Yeah,
he still
he
believe
does.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
He was definitely bringing that up. But I mean, he brought up things,
Unless he
and
knows
she
something
tried.
we don't.
Well, he said that a lot of the things that would have been able to come to light got shot down before they could ever get in court,
Interesting.
before there could ever be a discovery. He's
And
like,
I mean,
I don't feel like I got the fair end of that stick, or the fair shake in that, because the evidence that we had, courts wouldn't even hear it. They wouldn't let it go to discovery. They wouldn't let it come to this point because they just shut it down because
Right.
of the January 6th thing.
and then again, tinfoil hat time. But I mean, you look at like, okay, have you all ever seen Ozark on Netflix?
Yeah.
First off, great series if you haven't seen it. I highly
It was too
suggest
intense, man. Like, I got through the first series, I was like, yo, this is
It's
giving
pretty
me
crazy.
anxiety.
But later on in the series, they talk about voting machines, rigged voting machines, like electronic rigged voting machines, and again, tinfoil hat. It's obviously not proven, but like, technology is obviously there, right? Like you can tell the machines to do whatever you want to do with it.
Mhm.
That's how programmers make a living, and so.
Well,
now to say
any
that it
type of
actually gets
technology-
rigged, no, but like
Any type of technology can be
it
corrupted.
can be corrupted
It can be corrupted.
without human.
Interference. Yeah.
Yep.
So I believe that they were not
No.
really. Like, that would have to have been a huge conspiracy.
And that'd be huge. Like, you'd have to have everybody aligned
or
with that.
you could just have one company that put the bug in.
There's that too.
But the thing is that's huge.
Yeah.
And if that happened, like, whoa, we got
Yeah.
some serious problems.
That's big tinfoil hat time.
But he did say in his thing about the voting and everything, he was like, the only way that it needs to be paper ballots and 1 day of elections.
Yep.
He's like, that's the only way it can be a free and fair election is paper ballots, 1 day to vote.
But what you would have to do for that kind of situation is you'd have to have a lot more polling stations. You would, because especially places like New York, California, blah blah blah, where you have massive populations. If you're looking at like our local area, I mean, you would need a couple, but you wouldn't need anything drastic. Because everybody should be able to get out there and do it in time. So yeah.
What do you guys make of like people like AOC and others coming out saying that they can't believe CNN platformed Donald Trump. What y'all's take on that?
I think she's ridiculous.
She needs to fly kite because
Like,
it's their job to report the news.
Yep.
It is their job to talk about presidential candidates and give the presidential candidates a chance to speak to people. The fact that they did that, like, I actually have a little bit more respect for CNN.
Very tiny amount.
Very tiny amount. They're still mainstream media. They're still crooked as all get out. But they did do something right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would not have had Trump on their platform, like, giving him a chance to talk to the voters, like, you're a news organization.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
I'm shocked Fox hasn't jumped on there and tried doing something of that nature quicker.
I'm sure it will come.
I'm sure it will, yeah.
And
then it'll be more favored questions.
Here's how you know he did well at the town hall, though. Go on YouTube or go to Google and try to find the video in its entirety. You can't. You can't find it anywhere.
Wow.
The only place you can find it is Twitter.
I'm sure if you go on Rumble.
Literally, I found it on Twitter. First thing I searched.
Wow.
But I had to, like, I typed in like 4. I probably tried to search like 5 or 6 different times on YouTube and Google.
Trump
Couldn't find it anywhere.
Hall. Yeah. I mean, granted, I think probably Twitter and Rumble are probably the only 2 places you'll be able to see that. And then, so if y'all haven't seen also Project Veritas, they have started moving some of their stuff to Rumble because YouTube is like completely cutting them out.
Well, I mean, YouTube censorship it's getting kind of crazy,
getting
man.
Pretty bad.
Like, it just doesn't show up. And I mean, if you're looking for a specific thing, you shouldn't have to search YouTube 5 times. Like, enter 5 different phrases to try to find what it is you're looking for. YouTube is the largest database of video footage on the face of the planet.
Ever, yeah.
There should be no, I cannot find this video.
Yeah.
When I can go on to, like DuckDuckGo and find it immediately.
Like that, yeah. So, overall thoughts, Town Hall, Trump, win, success
Major
for him?
success in his.
Yeah.
Major success.
Stu, what's your thought on that?
So.
I would say,
but I'll say if you haven't watched it, everybody should go watch it and make up their own minds.
Yeah.
I would say for Trump overall, this seems like a win.
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely.
For him overall, I think this is a win for him.
For him to go on CNN platform, win over the crowd, and do as well as he did with the answers.
Right.
Yeah, I would call this a major success.
This is what I heard about the crowd, is that they're not allowed to boo. You can only do cheers.
What?
Yeah, that's the rule. You can only do cheers. You can't boo in the crowd.
Yeah, but there was some emphatic clapping and like whistling.
But it was in New Hampshire, and Trump has won New Hampshire in the past.
Yeah, well, I mean, New Hampshire is like a freedom state, so that makes sense.
You're still on CNN, a very
you don't think that they combed their crowd?
Yeah, so interesting thoughts there. But overall, I would say this is probably a majority win for Trump on this one. So
I think so.
I think they should do a town hall with Trump, do a town hall of Biden, do a town hall of Robert Kennedy Jr., do a town hall of Marianne Williamson.
I'm starting to really like RFK Jr.
All of the candidates that are running for president need to all do a town hall, and then all of the primaries need to debate.
His voice is a little weird, but he's good, man. I like Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to listen to him, but after a while, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, dang, we had a president in a wheelchair, so.
It's true. Arguably one of the better ones.
All right.
Also, arguably one of the worst ones, trying to take over the country in a dictatorship, serving 4 terms. But there's that.
That's why they have term limits now, right?
Well, that's what they said.
That's what they say.
FDR, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know.
Delano. It's kind of weird that his wife was named Eleanor.
That is
kind of Delano. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
So
his brother Teddy was
dope. A big reason for the welfare state.
The Bull Moose Party.
This actually is interesting because it jumps straight into another thing with Trump, right? So our second article of the night goes directly with Special Counsel John Durham criticizing the FBI actions in 2016 for the Russia probe, Trump Russia probe.
Nice.
So a special counsel appointed in President Trump's administration issued a highly critical report on how the FBI handled allegations linking Trump to Russia in 2016, ending 4 years of work Monday after having lost the 2 criminal cases he took to trial. In his 306-page report, Durham, the former top federal prosecutor in Connecticut, repeated prior criticisms faulting the Federal Bureau of Investigation on a number of points. He said the Bureau swiftly pursued a vague tip about potential contacts between Trump campaign aide and Russia authorities in July 2016, even though the report says the Bureau had no other information in its files to corroborate any such contact. The Justice Department's Inspector General in 2019 found similar flaws in the FBI inquiry, but found the investigation was justified. He concluded the FBI was more cautious and skeptical of allegations of foreign influence on the Clinton campaign than on the Trump campaign in 2016. According to the report, the Bureau didn't aggressively pursue evidence of 2 instances in which foreign governments were potentially planning to contribute to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign to gain influence. The speed to which the FBI opened the investigation into the Trump campaign based on raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence also reflected a noticeable departure from how it approached those other allegations. It said the FBI provided briefings to the Clinton campaign. The report said an approach it said to stood in contrast to the lack of such briefings provided to the Trump campaign. He concluded that the FBI didn't rigorously analyze information it received, especially from people and groups with political affiliation, prolonging the investigation and prompting the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller. Mr. Durham said the FBI was overly reliant on the investigative leads from Mr. Trump's political opponents. He concluded the FBI engaged in confirmation bias in which it discounted or willfully ignored material information that did not support the narrative or collusive relationship between Trump and Russia. So that is the brief overhead of this article. We're going to kind of change up how we're doing things. We're not going to go through the whole article, just kind of give brief hitting points, and that's where it sits. So the fact that they actually had more skeptical allegations on the Clinton campaign and not Trump, and they decided not to pursue, that's hella concerning.
Says a little bit.
I mean, yeah, because just looking at this, they should have immediately just dropped anything with Trump if they couldn't find any any kind of evidence between him and Russia. So,
I mean, you would think, but also the fact that the Justice Department went so outside of the lines on this and didn't corroborate, didn't source, didn't, find the information to be foolproof
right
before opening an investigation, an outright investigation, and sparking a ton of controversy.
Oh yeah,
like that shouldn't be able to happen. You can't do that.
Another
right?
L for the FBI.
Another L. Take that L.
It should be just called the FBL, Federal Bureau of Losers. I know they're listening to us right now too.
100%.
So it's like, take that, you FBL.
So, I mean, where do we stand? Like, where do we stand with the FBI after situations like this? They just continue to show that they are inefficient, that they're one-sided, that they are.
They are really supposed to be neutral, and they're not.
Weaponized for
they
sure.
Are. Look at what they did with Twitter. I mean, they literally reached out to Twitter and used them to cover up certain stories, or to not cover up, but to essentially make sure these stories didn't get told as much as others. I mean,
what story? Like that story about a laptop that well, I guess it did have accurate information.
You had our own Secretary of State trying to suppress that with that letter that he sent.
Yeah. So where do we stand with the FBI now? We can't even trust them to do their jobs properly, and they're supposed to be the Federal Bureau of Investigation. When
did you trust them?
When I was naive.
Oh. I haven't trusted them since I was a kid. I'm dead serious about that. I watched a movie like way back when, and it really just opened my eyes to that stuff.
Right.
I've been wearing a tin hat for a long time.
This is honestly how I view things anymore. When stuff comes out, I just say, I don't believe you, prove it.
Yeah.
So until I see the hard
proven guilty,
the hard facts, I just don't believe you.
Unfortunately, though, it seems like more nowadays it's turning into guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, that's not a That's a very concerning sign.
It is, because, you know, I mean, you can see, you'll see it through,
Pretty
obviously,
sure that's
Hollywood.
how other
but
bad countries work.
because, I mean, if you're just guilty of whatever is thrown at you, I mean, again, like, go back to the witch trials, right? Or, you know, back to McCarthyism, or, McCarthyism, when they were
The Red
trying
Scare.
to, when they were trying to, again, take anybody they considered a communist. So if I was just like, oh my goodness, my neighbor over here, Ryan, is a communist, and they just came in, swooped you up, destroyed your whole life, and then said, oh, turns out you weren't a communist. Sorry about that. Well, my whole life is ruined now. Kind of like, oh man, there was a documentary on this, but the bombing, I can't remember the individual's name, but there was a guy who was blamed for a
Talk
bombing.
about Unabomber?
Yes, the Unabomber. They blamed one individual. The media came out and blamed him for everything. Luckily, at the end of the story, he, you know, sued the medias for defamation of character and all that and won. But for the longest time, he was considered
What was
the
that guy's
bomber.
name?
I can't remember. But he actually saved people that day, and they tried to defamate him because of reporters' ambitions to try to just get this story
Was that the
and get the name
Unabomber?
out there.
Unabomber was Oklahoma City, right? That was the Oklahoma City bombing?
Oh man, this is gonna bug me.
I'm pretty sure it was. I can't remember that guy's name. I should. I'm actually really disappointed at myself for not remembering that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard though. So the Unabomber was a lone bomber that terrorized the nation for 20 years, planting bombs that killed 3 Americans and injured many more before his capture in
Okay,
1996.
so that wasn't the Unabomber. That was the Oklahoma City bombing.
And what was that one?
For some reason, I want to say Jeffrey Dahmer, but I know that's not right.
No, not
I
at
know
all.
for a fact that that's not right.
Definitely not. Oklahoma. So that was Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in '95.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
The one I'm thinking of was a gentleman who stopped it during like a concert or like a big event. I just can't remember what the hell it is. If anybody remembers, please help us out, because I'm lost on this one. I remember the story. I remember talking about it. I just, you know what I mean, can't put it all together.
You know how amazing it is that we still don't know who the Zodiac Killer is?
Do we not?
No.
Oh, that's incredible.
Or was?
Or was, yeah. I was
Also,
gonna say he's
too,
probably
it's
dead
a
at this point.
bad look for the FBI, because like when they come out and are telling the truth one day, people aren't going to believe them.
It's like the boy who cried
Boy,
wolf.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say that.
And a lot of these stories too, the media and the people play into it. It's like a my side bias where anything could come out about Joe Biden or the Bidens or the Democrats, you know, the right,
Right.
they're going to take it and run with it. And same with the left. Just everything that comes out about Trump, the left are just going to take it and run with it, no matter what the facts are. There's a lot of my side bias that plays into all this too.
You know, I agree with you. There is a lot of like my side confirmation bias. Actually, that's one of the things that really makes me kind of thrilled about the investigation into Hunter Biden's laptop right now, because they're not really saying one thing or another just yet, but they are coming out and saying, according to bank records, according to financial records that we have found and uncovered, this is what we've found. They're not saying, oh, he's absolutely guilty, he did it. But they are coming out and saying, this is
they
what
have
we
hard
found.
facts
These
backing
are
up
the
the
facts of what
allegations.
we found.
So
Yeah.
I love that we're talking about this, because this actually takes us right into our next topic. So Trump and Russia, obviously, you know, FBI, where can we trust them? We can't. So that's concerning. But this jumps right into our next topic, talking about Hunter Biden. So IRS dumps team investigating Hunter Biden tax fraud after whistleblower alleges cover-up. So this is a
The
very
whistleblower
short.
came forward.
So this is a very short article I'm going to go ahead and discuss. The Internal Revenue Services has done away with the entire team tasked with investigating Hunter Biden via a tax fraud probe. The move comes just weeks after a whistleblower from within the IRS came forth suggesting that the department had attempted to cover up the first son's tax evasion with the help of senior Biden administration official. Later alleged the Attorney General Merrick Garland. Lawyers for the whistleblower, who have been identified as a career IRS criminal supervisory special agent who has been overseeing the ongoing and sensitive investigation of a high-profile, controversial subject since early 2020, sent a letter to Congress suggesting that the IRS decision to axe investigation team was clearly retaliatory. So today
they did away with the investigation.
The entire team. Today the IRS criminal supervisory special agent we represent was informed that he and his entire investigative team are being removed from the ongoing and sensitive investigation of the high-profile controversial subject, about which our client sought to make whistleblower disclosures to Congress. Lawyers Mark Light and Tristan Leavitt wrote. They noted that the whistleblower was informed that the IRS decision was made at the request of the DOJ. Light and Leavitt went on to slam IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel, pointing out that on April 27th, he appeared before the House Committee on Ways and Means and testified that I can say without any hesitation that there will be no retaliation for anyone making an allegation or a call to whistleblower hotline. This move is clearly retaliatory, the lawyers stated, and may also constitute obstruction of congressional inquiry. The whistleblower's legal team urged Congress to act, suggesting that removing the experienced investigators who have worked this case for years and are now the subject matter experts is exactly the sort of issue our client intended to blow the whistle on to begin with. When the whistleblower first came forth with his allegations, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said it was deeply concerning that the Biden administration may be obstructing justice by blocking efforts to charge Hunter Biden for tax violations. So,
what news source is this?
This is the Post Millennial.
Oh, Post Millennial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, interesting, right? Because we
wow,
had an entire team dedicated to trying to figure out Biden's Hunter Biden's tax evasion. The entire team gets dumped because that team was trying to cover it up with an official from Biden's administration.
Wow.
Yeah. Who
and
do we
it was
even
at the
trust?
request. It was at the request of the Justice Department. So the
Yes, the
FBL.
DOJ.
So the old FBL takes another L.
So here's where it gets me. So suggesting that the department had attempted to cover up the first son's tax evasion with the help of senior Biden administration official, later alleged to be Attorney General Merrick Garland. So Merrick Garland was trying to help cover this up. Is that what they're saying right there?
And he is the head of the DOJ now, isn't he?
Interesting.
Right? Merrick Garland is the.
Is he?
He's the Attorney General. Drain the swamp.
Oh,
we need to drain the swamp.
Yeah.
You should have drained it the first time.
Merrick Garland.
Educated source, close to this material. What do you have to say about that, buddy?
Yeah,
I want to hear you on this one.
Merrick Garland revealed to be senior Biden official named by our IRS whistleblower and Hunter Biden tax cover-up.
I'll defend Trump on this issue. Could you imagine if this happened during his administration?
Oh, dude.
They would be calling for impeachment.
They would be calling for his head. They would not stop until he was gone.
Gone.
Like, this is ridiculous. And this is getting a little out of hand. I mean, we are talking legit.
I'm gonna have to. Boys, if it starts raining, I need to catch some of it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's not a really good look because the hat's white and it was standing up like that.
Oh,
I'll just put it on backwards. Let's do that.
There you go. You always look good backwards.
Just it's getting too fast in here, man.
It's getting hot, boys.
My hair's getting all blown back.
So, I genuinely don't know what to think of this. I mean,
this is definitely a WTF moment.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So the entire investigative team got taken away because they were trying to cover it up. So what's to say that the next team doesn't go through the same process?
I don't understand if they think this is all misinformation and disinformation and they don't have anything to hide, why get rid of the investigators?
Because they have something to hide.
Exactly.
Clearly. Does that not admit guilt right there?
It does.
It absolutely screams guilty. But like we were talking about earlier, man, there's definitely a my side on this because if this was the other side, if this was Trump, the screams from the heavens or the depths of hell to impeach this man and get him out would be overwhelming. But because it's my guy, right? No, he's not.
I see what you're saying.
But because it's that team, right? There's nothing going on, and now the
I don't know.
The investigative team just got fired. That's wild.
This is really concerning.
That's
because
wild.
again,
That's wild.
If we can't trust the IRS, we can't trust the FBL. See what I did there?
I loved it.
FBL. We can't trust CIA.
And the
we can't
Fed.
trust government
CLA.
programs. Central laws.
Central losers of America.
Like,
Homeland Security, NSA spying on us.
who do we trust anymore? This is. Give me some DMT, Joe
ding,
Rogan.
ding, 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 ding. Call on me, man. It's a game show. Ding, ding, ding.
Ryan, you're up.
What is no one?
You're correct.
I'm sorry. Who is no one?
I mean, seriously.
This is Jeopardy, bro.
I really don't know who to believe anymore, and it's just starting to get to a point where how far is this corruption, and how far will the American people allow it to continue to go?
Oh, it's deep seated. It is deep seated. That's not a good look, man.
Concerning, gentlemen. So, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there you go, Hunter Biden. I mean, that wraps up
Man.
our Article 3.
Now, dude, the Biden family is starting to look a lot like the Clinton family. Do we have like a list of people who have died surrounding the Biden family like that?
If we started diving into that, and then it got. But see, that's the thing.
Like,
The Biden family's right next to it.
This is getting as scary, if not more scary, than what the Clinton family has. That cloud that follows the Clinton family around of like 74 people who've suicided themselves.
Epstein being like the top one that we have to discuss.
All of a sudden now Biden's family has a ton of stuff that's starting to come to light, and everything that does get to light gets suppressed almost immediately.
I don't know why we're not calling for an immediate like
an immediate WTF, Merrick Garland, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm
let's
talking
hold
like
this man accountable kind of thing.
Oh yeah, impeachment. Like, I don't understand how we're not talking about an immediate impeachment for Biden right now, just like they were for
Or obstruction
Trump.
of justice.
Or obstruction of
Obstruction of
so
justice,
with Trump,
obstruction of a
they were
congressional
trying to throw
inquiry.
him out because he was apparently getting, funds from Russia. We're literally proving a tax fraud scheme.
Not to mention the Hunter
family.
Biden laptop that shows absolutely that they were getting money from China.
I can't remember
and
his name,
Romania.
but whoever was in charge of investigating Trump over the Russia, they called him a Russian asset or whatever.
Right.
The guy that was in charge of that, didn't Trump fire him? And they called like obstruction of justice. He fired somebody during his administration that was investigating him.
Well, to be fair, he fired a lot of people during his administration.
Right.
Dude, it was looking
But I'm
like
just saying
an
the left
episode of
freaked
Apprentice
out.
here.
I'm just saying the left freaked
You're
out
fired.
when he fired that person and said like obstruction of justice.
Oh yeah,
Right.
But I don't
remember
see
what
any
you're talking
outcry right now.
I can't pin back to that, but the one thing, I mean, it's hard to tell because again,
Wait, was that the Steele dossier? Did he fire Steele? Wait,
I don't know who he fired. I can't remember.
I don't know.
can't
You know
either.
who should have been fired a long time ago is Eric Swalwell for hopping
You know who
in
Trump
bed
should
with,
have fired was Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Oh God.
And he dropped the ball
Hey,
there.
did you guys see the study that just came out from the Cleveland Clinic? That number 2 ranked hospital in America?
I have
in
not.
the world. I'm sorry, not
I'm
America.
kind of scared to know what this is, though.
Oh, I was talking about the, the
Yeah.
The
thing.
jab.
that thing, and how its efficacy is like through the floor. Like you're 4 times more. With every shot that you get,
God.
you're more and more likely to contract COVID.
That's not.
That's coming out of the Cleveland Clinic, the number 2 ranked hospital in the world.
That's not good.
Yeah, I love my doctor because like he's like, I went and saw my doctor today. So sorry, it's a little fresh on
No,
my.
I get it.
But he was like,
He's
"So,"
paid from Big Pharma.
He's like, we can do a vasectomy. You can do, your COVID shot, or you can do something else. And I was like, I'm gonna have to decline on all those.
Yeah.
And he was like, why? I was like, well, I want to leave the jewels still working just in case we want to have another kid. And the shot, have you seen the evidence or the study that just came out of the Cleveland Clinic? And he was like, yeah. Dude, so my doctor, I'm not going to name him or anything like that, but he
Right.
was so cool. When I first sat down with him the first time, I was like, listen, doc, I'm going to be straight with you. I hate doctors. And he was like, why? And I was like, I don't trust y'all.
Fair enough.
And he's like, when's the last time you went to a doctor? I was like, since I was a kid. I haven't been to a doctor since I was a kid. He was like, I don't blame you. Doctors are assholes. And I was like, yes, this is my guy.
My doctor, when I looked at him and we talked about the COVID vaccine, he was like, so you can get the COVID vaccine, but here are things that are statistically more likely to happen to you. Struck by lightning, eaten by a shark, or and he just named off a few other things, and I was like, so basically I almost have no chance of dying from COVID. He was like, yeah, you have like almost no chance. And I was like, okay.
So if you haven't read the Cleveland Clinic study, go read it.
Yep.
And make your own mind up.
Yep. So talking about that though, let's
get down to
dive
that border.
into number 4, border. So,
hey, before you do that, though, before we dive in, let me take this second to point something out. Shamelessly point something out. If you don't like, comment, share, and follow, are you actively participating in the Fact Is podcast? I would say no. What
that's
do you
a great
think?
question. That's a no from me, Ryan.
That's a no. So make sure you go like, comment, share, and follow.
I love it.
Shameless plug.
Number 4.
SP.
Let's talk about this southern border. So it's a USA Today. What's happening on the U.S.-Mexico border? 3 takeaways as Title 42 migrant policy ends. So I have a brief description here of what I'm going to read. So, no migrant surge after the Title 42, but could it still happen? So, the Biden administration said Monday that it was still assessing the impact of the end of the controversial immigration rules known as Title 42, which, if you don't know what it is, here's what it did. It made it easier to expel migrants at the southern border. The rules, which ended Thursday, have been in place for 3 years as part of the federal public emergency for COVID-19. Thousands of migrants have been waiting in Mexico for the restrictions to end, and analysts predicted chaos and a surge of migrants looking to cross the border once the policy was lifted. So far, thus hasn't happened. Knock on wood, quite literally. It's early, but administration officials said they haven't seen any signs of a surge. In fact, the opposite has occurred. The border has remained relatively calm in 4 days since Title 42 ended, and the number of migrants crossing illegally has dropped by 50%, according to the Department of Homeland Security. So, what happens to the migrants that are seeking asylum?
I was getting ready to crack a joke about the wall and like do a Trump voice, like, "Look at that wall! It's beautiful! It's so beautiful! It's perfect! It's the best wall ever!" But then I saw that little kid, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe I should. So what happens?
They picked that picture for a reason.
They did it for a reason. So what happens to the migrants seeking asylum? The Biden administration has expelled thousands of migrants who crossed into the U.S. illegally since the end of Title 42. U.S. authorities have returned to enforcing the nation's immigration laws under Title 8, a section of the U.S. Code that spells out who is admissible into the country, criminal penalties for crossing the border illegally, and expedited removal of migrants who are deemed inadmissible. Since Friday, hundreds of migrants, including Venezuelans, Cubans, and Nicaraguans, have been returned to Mexico. Thousands, including single adults and families, have been sent home to more than 10 countries, including Colombia, Honduras, Peru, Nunez Neto said. Thousands more were being held in facilities run by Customs and Border Protection on Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and were moving through the expedited removal process in the streamlined manner. So, last thing, Florida ruling injects uncertainty on the migrant policy. So there's a Florida ruling. U.S. officials remain concerned about the impact of the Florida judge's ruling last Thursday could have on U.S. immigration policy after Title 42. U.S. District Judge T. Kent Weatherall in the Northern District of Florida temporarily blocked the Customs Border Protection from going ahead with a plan to release or parole some migrants to alleviate overcrowding in immigration holding facilities. Fearing a surge in migrants once Title 42 lifted, Customs and Border Protection said it would parole certain migrants without what's known as a notice to appear. Essentially a charging document, because those documents take additional time to prepare. Weatherall said a Biden administration memorandum outlining the parole policy appeared to conflict with the decision from the court in a separate case earlier this year. Nunez Neto said the administration is concerned about the effect a Florida ruling could have on the time it takes to process migrants. Every individual we encounter is thoroughly vetted against our national security and public safety systems, he added, adding the people are detained if they have an outstanding warrant or have affiliation with terrorism. The Biden administration is expected to appeal the ruling. Another hearing case is set for Friday. So that is the gist of the article. Pretty good briefing there. So far, we haven't seen any negatives coming out of the end of Title 42. So far. We'll see what happens. But, you know.
I foresee a wave of people. Maybe they're like coming up through now that they know. I don't know, man. Maybe they're deterred by the 10,000 troops we just sent down, you know?
Right.
That's major news as well.
Yeah.
So it could be a lot of different things. Who's
Ron Doe? What's happening?
Ron Doe.
Appreciate you joining us here. Appreciate you jumping in. If you have any comments, questions, or anything you want to ask us, feel free to jump in. That's what we do here at this podcast. We include everyone. So
yes,
appreciate you jumping in and talking. But anyways, yeah. So Title 42. I mean, it has ended. But again, we haven't seen the negative side effects coming from it yet.
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet. And you know, it was maybe it was time for it to end, and you know, because it was something used strictly for like, you know, COVID purposes, and obviously since COVID has become like a universal crisis, yeah, I guess that's okay. But we can't
I don't know if it was
go
ever
like
a universal crisis, Nave. It might have been a global crisis.
Global, sorry, I can't say Yeah, let me rephrase.
I don't think the
global.
aliens really cared about COVID.
Yes,
there's my aliens. See?
There it is.
Every episode. I sneak them in there somewhere
every time. But yeah, so, yeah, I mean, so it's really interesting to see how this took place. You know, Title 42, like I said, was making it easier, but at the same time, I don't think our immigration policy is still pretty stern. You know what I mean? Like, they do vet these individuals pretty well. And the reason I know that is because I've worked with individuals who've had to come through the system. So, like, I know how hard it is for them to get vetted. But, yeah, you're going to have somebody that slips through the crack, which is like where Donald Trump comes in saying they're not sending us their best, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, occasionally you do get a bad individual. Actually, we just had one happen here in the local area. The individual who got shot not too long ago in front of the county jail, he was an immigrant. But, you know, again, you're going to have those situations slip through the cracks. But not all immigrants are bad, right? And we have a very good vetting process.
I would say that it's the exact opposite. I would say that there are a lot more good immigrants than there are bad.
Yeah.
I've met so many immigrants recently, actually, and man, I cannot speak highly enough of them. They're awesome, and they're so much about like the American way, the American dream. And I would say that they have a greater respect for the American dream than people who were born in America do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you were born, raised, and lived here your entire life, you kind of take it for granted that you do have the freedom to kind of do whatever you want within, you know, the parameters.
And we realize that there are priorities, like we have different priorities because of where we live and the situation that we're currently in.
What situation is that, Nave?
A very comfortable one, I'd argue, compared to those in other countries, if I'm being honest.
That's definitely a situation there, Mike. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. So, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say, you know, coming from their perspective, that I wouldn't do the same damn thing. If I could migrate to a country where I could make a better living for my family and
feed
not
my children.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, it's like, what do they have to lose?
Exactly, because I can't tell you how many different immigrants I've talked to.
The journey here is most of the time very tough and scary.
That is true. That is true. And it depends on how you get here and where you're coming from. But yes, a lot of the times it's very scary.
Yeah. So we got a couple of comments. What's the name on that one?
He said he thinks it's Eric.
Eric.
From Morning Ball. Eric.
I think that's Eric.
Yeah.
Oh.
Eric from Morning Ball.
What's up, man?
Yeah, if that's Eric, what's happening? They work hard and are well-mannered people. Seizing the opportunity before you is the main goal for them. No procrastinating. Exactly. So,
yeah, they do come here with a very huge sense of urgency.
Yeah, because, they understand. Well, like, first off, and the biggest sense of urgency for most migrants, at least from my understanding, is they're going to come here and they're immediately going to do everything they can to become legal. They don't want to leave this country. They love what they can do here. They love being able to work. They love being able to have a home to go home to, to go home to every night, take care of their family. It's just, it's their priority.
That's why I'm for just making the process easier.
Say it again?
That's why I'm for making the process to come here easier.
Yes.
Simpler. Because the people that want to come here, I do want immigrants to come here and make a better life and contribute to society.
I agree.
Where I struggle with the immigration thing is when people would smuggle across the borders.
Right. Right.
If the process was easier, then you would have more people doing it in a legal manner and doing it the right way. That's what I'm about. I want people to do it the right way. Like, that's all I ask.
Yeah.
Don't come in. Don't, suck off the tax system. Don't, do those things. Come in. Do it the right way, establish yourself, become a citizen, and build yourself up. And the people that I've met, they do that.
Yeah.
And that is, like, I have the utmost respect for these people. Like, you literally went through hell to try to improve your family situation.
Yeah.
And I cannot fault people for that.
No, you can't. And that's the other thing is, again, they're just trying to make a better life for their family. So to fault somebody for that is hard to do. But people see it as, oh, they're taking our jobs, they're doing this, doing that. And again, I will argue this every time.
They're taking your jobs because you don't want the jobs that they take.
Exactly. Like, again, I hate to say it, but go look at who's jumping on these roofs every single day, busting their ass. Go look at who's working in a lot of these factories.
Or go look at who's working 12 to 14-hour shifts at your local 7-Eleven.
Yeah, seriously. They are doing anything they can to be able to work, bust their butt, and stay in this country.
Yeah, man.
So, I don't fault them by any means.
And what's crazy is like they'll go and they'll work that really not so great job.
Mm.
And then they'll work themselves into a position where they can start their own business.
Yeah.
They are so dedicated to the American dream that it makes me proud to, fly the flag that we've got back here, man. It really does. Like, that is what it's all about, man. Coming here, creating something, making something of yourself, owning something, and making it a better world for you and your family and those around you. Like, how many jobs are being produced by immigrants who worked themselves up, created a business, and now are employing people?
Yeah, so just to kind of touch up on this as well, New York City is actually using 14 hotels to house migrants amid an ongoing surge. So.
Did you see that they also opened up gyms, high school gyms, and turned them into housing facilities?
Wow.
Because of the surge? I think that sparked a lot of backlash.
I can understand because you want your children to be able to become educated, but at the same time, I don't know. This is where it gets a little tough, right?
It does.
Because it's like we want to support these people, but at the same time, we don't want to start hurting our children's education or what they're going through, and we want to make sure we're kind of providing for everybody. And this is where our social programs really, if they were more efficient, and we weren't wasting our money on the FBL and all those. Sorry ass federal programs. And
if you've been awfully vulgar here this evening, sir.
Damn an ass, it's not that bad.
My kids would beg to differ.
Damn it.
There you go again. Come on.
You crack me up. Come on, man. It's a hard balance here. I don't even know what to say on this one because, what do you say? What do you do?
The other thing that is really crazy and is very also respectable is the fact that they will come, they will shack up with their family. They'll live 10, 11 deep in a house simply so that, rent or, whatever their living expenses are
right.
minimal. And then they put all this money back.
Yep.
It's insane.
And I love how you're kind of touching up on here what Eric's saying. So they also choose to live together so that they can save money, kind of like what you just said. And then he also said Ryan's kids know best.
You're right about that, bro.
They know
Hey,
best.
if I let a bad word slip, all of a sudden I get the daddy.
Oh, put it into the cuss jar.
And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, everybody makes mistakes, Dad. I'm like, daggone, man.
You should start a cuss jar. Every time you cuss, put $1 in there, and then it's like, crap. At the end of the month, it's,
I'm not trying to go broke. I got a potty mouth, man. I clean it up very well for the podcast because obviously I do want this to be, something that if you're sitting at home, you're watching it, and you have it on in front of the family. Like, I want you to be able to have this on and not feel bad. So, Nafe, I really do need you to clean up your act.
I'll clean up my act. I apologize.
Wipe your butt, okay? Wipe your butt.
But yeah, so I mean, again, tough situation. It's very hard, but
what's funny too is when Trump sent troops to the border during his administration. There's a video of Kamala Harris saying like how despicable that was, but then. Yeah.
Double standard.
Yeah, behold, the Trump or the Biden administration does the same thing.
It's an emergency.
Yeah. My side bias again, right?
Yeah, there's that again. And then I still love the video where Kamala's sitting up there and she's like, I've been to the border. I've been... Literally never went to the
How about the
border.
one where AOC took a picture in front of a fence? And it was like that fence was in New York or something. And she was like, well, it was for, it was for emotional
All the
purposes.
border crisis is like a political football.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is.
That's absolutely what it is.
Ryan misses a shot, and then God bless America.
And none of the issues are ever addressed.
Probably that basketball shot.
Just something little.
We know that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so the migrant situation, again, we haven't seen anything happen since the end of Title 42. We have seen a fluctuation, though, going into New York, and, let's hope that we can find those individuals jobs. Let's hope we can get them something to do to be able to become, again, contributing members to society and be able to bring their families over here correctly. So, loving it, but...
On to the old lady.
I'm ready to... Oh, man. I love how you started this one. Beautiful. Let's talk about...
Isn't that what the article was basically saying?
I mean... Diane...
She needs to step down.
Diane Feinstein returning to U.S. Senate after health-related absence. Now, I don't know if it's Feinstein or Feinstein, so I'm going to go Feinstein because it rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. So,
I think it's Feinstein.
Okay, Feinstein. We'll
That's
go
what I've heard
Feinstein.
on, CNN, Fox,
So,
and other major news platforms that
I have a
are
very
untrustable. So it's Feinstein.
Feinstein. Okay, I have a very
Or maybe
brief
it's Feinstein.
description here of this article. Or not, yeah, because I mean, there's not much to it except for this. Diane Feinstein is an 89-year-old lawmaker who has recovered from a bout of shingles and been out of the Senate since February. 89. Okay? 89.
Why is she still in the Senate?
Literally
Or
the
Congress?
oldest congressional individual in our country. Feinstein was elected in 1992, nicknamed the Year of the Woman, which saw the number of women in U.S. senators double, and California became the first state represented by 2 women, Feinstein and fellow Democrat Barbara Boxer, which she is still at, which is California. And she also served previously as the mayor of San Francisco. So her absence has caused a bit of a deadlock. So that's one big reason they've been trying to push her back, because there's been an issue with Republicans and the whole deadlock thing. And so they're trying to get her back in there. But again, she is currently the oldest lawmaker. So some things about Feinstein. Right now, she's trying to basically say that she never even... she was never really absent, right? She was talking about how she was never really absent, but you were gone since February because of like a health related leave.
Shingles is no joke, bro.
Shingles is no joke,
especially when you're 90.
But again, when you're that old, it's time to retire. I think they should be going through like a mental health check. I mean, even AOC, somebody in her party is asking her to retire. Like, come on now.
I don't know. I can't really agree with the AOC on anything, so I'm going to take the opposing stance on this.
Oh, so you want her to stay in?
Stay in, baby.
Stay in all the way.
Hey, AOC is for the stock trading.
Yeah, I take that back.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
AOC calling for senators to not be able to trade and own stocks I like you for that.
Yeah,
but
so
I don't like you for most of the other stuff.
They do the Senate right now is talking about the whole debt limit increase, so Feinstein could be a pretty crucial vote to that, simply because she is now coming back, and now it's not going to be as much of a deadlock in the Senate. So
yeah, because now they have their 51-49 majority, right?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. So. Wow. He's 89 years old and still. Why
still
would
kicking,
you
man.
even want a job that stressful at that age, bro? Like,
it's not stressful. Apparently,
it's
not as stressful as we think it is. Man.
Apparently, because if you're 89 years old and you're still in there doing it, it cannot be that hard. Just saying. Because at some, like, your mental capacity is going down at some point. Now, granted, my great uncle, who is 98 years old, served in
World War II.
Yes, served in World War II. Served in another war.
Korean.
I think he might not have actually. He might have been done after World War II. He is still very sound of mind. We'll talk to you about economics, politics. Just
would you trust him running the country?
I wouldn't, but he is very sound of mind for an individual who gets to be at home, relax, watch horse races, bet a little bit because that's what he loves doing, loves having fun with the horse races.
Don't put
that's
his
what he grew
business
up
out there.
Well, I love him to death.
Another issue with this too is if you're critical of her age and her cognitive abilities, the left's kind of been saying, we're ageist, instead of sexist, we're ageist against old people.
Well, I'm definitely a speciesist.
She's an elected public official. She's a public servant. The people have the say. Her
That's
district,
to vote her out, technically, yeah.
Yeah, her district has a say in if she has a job or not. So enough of this chatter about being ageist and against old people being in office. I mean, if you can't do the job,
you can't do the job.
Yeah.
And what I meant by speciesist is like I choose the human race over artificial intelligence. I'm going to side with Elon on that one. Yeah.
I like that.
That's what he said.
No, I mean, that's interesting.
Did you see what I did there? No, you didn't. Right over your head.
It did. Dang it. I missed
That's
it.
what he said.
We got jokes. So that's actually a tough argument to beat. Because, yes, theoretically, we could vote this individual out, or those in California could vote the individual out. But at the same time, the math still ain't mathing. Because if you're only at a 20% approval rate of like every position,
isn't Congress
in the US,
in total only at a 30% approval rate?
Is that what it is? Like 20, 30, somewhere around there?
Something like that.
And there's still like 80 to 90%, reelected rate.
They can't get rid of that voting DNR.
But the thing is like, it's like our guest from a couple weeks back, Steve said, you have the way that things are district, you have like deeply red spots and you have deeply blue spots.
Right.
And they will never be unseated.
When you have like it would be so easy.
R24 or D24, like they're just not going to be unseated.
It's just concerning because until people actually pull their heads out of their asses and understand how our system works, man.
The sand. They pull their head out of the sand.
Just give them term limits, 2 terms, 12 years.
I mean, it'd be a great idea, but again, who's going to vote themselves out of a job?
They're not.
Mean, yeah, so
they're not even going to vote for the banning stock.
Exactly. So that's hard enough to do,
That right there tells you everything you should know.
Oh yeah. But
this is supposed to be a public service position.
You're not supposed to be making a crap ton of money.
How do you go in making $160,000 a year and come out a millionaire? Multi-millionaire?
Great question.
Unless you are either trading illegally.
Yep.
Taking bribes.
Yep.
Trading illegally or taking more brides.
Yep.
And not brides. I didn't say brides. Although,
could be
Eric Swalwell's case,
brides. Yeah, I mean,
Jenny spies. You know.
Or that Supreme Court justice taking bribes.
Yeah, that one.
Well, there's that. Justice Thomas, right?
Yeah,
Oh man,
from a billionaire.
And
who do you trust anymore?
Ooh.
Your turn.
Who is no one?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can get rid
Spin
of
the wheel.
this corruption, but I think term limits on every
Term limits
position
on every public
in government is a good start.
I think it's a great start.
And then investigating these people and holding them accountable. Like, I don't care what side you're on. If they are in some, deep crap, let's get them out.
If they're swampy, they should be drained.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Did I do something there, Nave? What did I do?
Oh, well, I was thinking swamp, but
You're gonna drain some swamp butt?
pick it out.
Whatever you say, buddy.
Eric jumps in there saying all the above. I mean, yeah. So
It's
either
not
bribes
Eric, it's
or
Rondo.
right. Sorry, I gotta be better about that.
People will always be
Rondo.
corrupt, but when the corruption surfaces, we need to take care of it.
But again, who's going
I
to take
think
care of it if you
I
can't
think
even?
we need to have a specialized part of the government that seeks corruption. Like seeks it out, hunts it out.
Oh, you mean like the FBI?
No. That's the FPL. I mean something that actually seeks corruption out and tries to squander it.
Oh, you mean like the CIA?
No. That's the CLA.
Ah, damn.
Central Loser Agency.
So if we can't trust our government to do it,
And we can't trust the Justice Department to do it.
and you can't,
You can't trust the Supreme Court. You can't trust the Senate.
And
you
the
can't
people
trust
are
the House.
brainwashed.
and the people don't even know
And-
left from right.
Well, and in their defense, most people. Should I continue? Most people don't really know the difference between right and left.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the best way that I could put it.
You know, U.S. Anbu. Oh my gosh. Yes. Do you Anbu? Do you understand what that's
No,
from?
I'm just sitting here smiling because I
that's a-
don't want to look stupid.
That's a Naruto reference.
Oh, Naruto.
That's a beautiful reference.
Ooh.
At least I think it is. Or maybe I'm the stupid one. But if we
You remember
really
Storm Area 1? Or Area 51.
Oh,
They're like on a
man,
Naruto
yes,
run.
they said,
Ooh,
"Do
I wish
not
that would have
do
happened.
that."
I wish it would have happened.
Do you know how many people would have died?
Would they have, though?
Ah, that's a good question.
If you see a bunch of people running to you like an anime character, are you going to shoot them? Let them get in there and find the huge alien behind the containment thing and just let it start ripping people apart. And it's like,
Yeah.
we told
We
you!
told you. I mean,
You
you
should have
should've
gone in
come.
there. Aliens!
No, so I mean, truly though, until people actually get their act together, I mean, maybe that's when we'll actually be able to attack corruption when it starts, because we'll have some sort of
Moral
like,
compass?
citizen ran auditing system where we say, we are your boss, time to kick you out. Bye. Like, you're gone.
Goodbye.
The Pentagon can just continue to fail audits too.
I mean,
Don't talk about things
trillions
that
of
make
dollars.
sense.
Just run a plane into it, blow up all the
Whoa!
I'm just saying. Sorry, tinfoil hat time, but the day after they talked about how they've lost trillions of dollars.
If you're gonna get us on the FBL list,
But it's
we're already on it.
we're already on it.
We have an American flag. Apparently, that makes us extremists.
Yeah, right. Now, I mean, again, this is all conspiracy, but it's like, it's crazy that you miss trillions of dollars and then the next day an aircraft runs into the Pentagon where there were no injuries in the Pentagon.
But it did blow up the office that was
Where all that paperwork was.
Do you guys think that there's some people in this country that are just too far gone?
I think we're
Yes.
living in a simulation.
I think the
No,
Matrix
yes.
has a hold of people,
Yeah.
and I mean that. I know it's not like the actual Matrix.
But I see what you're
but
saying.
I think that some people are so. It's like the movie Inception. Here comes the major cinephile in me. You remember the movie Inception?
Love that movie.
How people would choose to stay asleep
Yep.
instead of living in the real world.
Because it's much better for them to stay asleep.
Yeah. Dude, Inception and The Matrix are so similar, but The Matrix was better. I don't know, though. Inception was a good one. Yeah, The Matrix is way better. Come on, Bjorn. Come on,
yeah,
bro.
it did have a
Come
trilogy.
on,
It
bro.
did have a trilogy. Actually, didn't they make a fourth movie?
Yeah, it was terrible. But
Oh, don't tell me that.
no. And it was funny because they actually, really called out Warner Brothers. Nobody wanted to do... They said it in the movie. Nobody wants to go back to The Matrix, but here's our parent company, Warner Brothers, telling us we have
Forcing
to.
us to make it.
Literally
yeah.
said it in the movie.
Did
But,
Keanu Reeves play in that one too?
yeah.
Okay.
He had long hair,
did he
John
do good
Wick
at
style.
least? Did
Oh,
he
dude,
like
it
his
was
acting?
Keanu.
Okay. I just want to make
He
sure.
was the one. But
I was correct on the Anbu as well, by the way.
yeah, I saw that Rondo.
Yeah.
confirmed
said
that.
it confirmed. All right.
So
Cool.
where do we go from here, gentlemen?
I think
Wake
we
the
should
people
go.
up.
I think we should go to a place that has accountability.
I'll say something. This is what really frustrates me when people are just like, "Oh, why you worry about politics? Don't worry about it. It's not, it doesn't mean anything." Yes, it does.
It does.
It affects everything that
This
we do.
stuff has effects on your life, effects on your freedom. So this does matter, and I think there's a lot of people in this country that do pay attention, and they're like us. There's people that are on the left. There's people that are on the right. And there's people that just don't pay attention at all. And I think everybody needs to start paying attention because politics is important, and holding your government accountable is important. I mean, just think if, back before this country is even established, they just whatever. They didn't fight for
Right.
anything. I mean, you wouldn't have what you have. It's so ignorant to me where people are like, "Why you worry about politics? It doesn't mean anything." Yes, it does.
Right. Or I don't vote because my vote doesn't matter. What? Yes, it does. If you vote locally, you are literally choosing who represents us. So yeah, your vote kind of matters, dude.
Oh yeah.
So
On the state, on the city state level, your vote absolutely matters.
oh yeah.
I have some doubts after the last federal election, just because I have seen some things that kind of pointed towards maybe a little bit of mischievous doings.
Right.
But
The Russians.
I don't even know if it was the Russians. It was more like the charts. Have you seen those charts where it's like, this is Trump's line, this is Biden's line, these are the votes that they're getting, and Trump's winning, and then they stop, straight line up, and then it comes over, and it's like,
Wasn't that the mail-in votes?
that's what they said, but it happened all at once.
But see, even then,
I don't know how that happens. How does, even if they did download all the mail-in votes, how does a straight line happen when millions of other votes are getting counted, and it's a very clear graph almost,
right.
and then there's just this huge abnormality in the graph.
Yeah, but even
just
then,
doesn't make sense.
It's more of like a popularity contest than anything when it comes to the national vote, because it's up to the electoral college, which are the representatives that we choose to represent
But I mean,
us.
politics
but I see
in
what you're
general
saying.
is a popularity contest. Even on the
right.
state and local level,
You're
it's a
not wrong.
popularity
Your best thing to do
contest.
is get involved locally.
Yeah,
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
the best
That's
thing
the
to
best
do.
thing that you
Yes,
could do is
I
get
100%
involved
agree.
locally,
People,
because that's going to affect your life the most.
people are busy in their lives, their day-to-day lives, raising their kids. I mean, I get it. They don't have time. They don't have time
And
to pay
that's why
attention.
we're here for
I
an
got-
hour and a half a
I
night.
got 3 kids and I do this weekly.
Exactly. That's why we're here for an hour and a half every hour and a half every night on Wednesdays to
I just think people should
give you all
know that
information.
it is important. And,
It is very
That's
And
important.
the
very
people
important.
that think it's not, I just disagree.
And that's, I'm
People
100%
who don't think
with
it's
you.
important, maybe it's time that you pay attention so that you understand the scale that it's at hand.
Or if you don't understand, swallow your pride and ask.
And it only works if you question your government. Question government, question science.
Question everything.
Your most favorite candidate, if you love Trump, Biden, whoever you love, question them especially.
Yes.
Question your own beliefs, question your own thoughts. Challenge yourself. Challenge your own beliefs.
Critical thinking.
Yes.
It's not easy to do.
Dude, kind of piggybacking off everything Stu just said, a lot of people didn't grow up watching the X-Files, and it shows. No, man, because that's all that show preached was question everything.
Because I never watched the X-Files, I'll be honest.
Bro.
I know.
That's why it took you so long to get your tin hat and find it.
That's true. That's true. Because
See, I grew up watching the X-Files, bro. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Because I feel like when these kids are little and then they grow up, they become their parents. They have their parents' beliefs. You believe everything your parents did. And they grow up and maybe something happens one day and their whole worldview is shattered.
Right.
That happened to me when I was 12.
Yeah, because I mean that's the other problem is you got to remember a lot of
I'm not trying to poke fun at what you said. I mean that literally happened to me when I was a kid. Like my whole world got shattered, and that's what sent me on this. Like, now I need to figure stuff out for myself.
Right. Well, because a lot of what we learn especially as children, it comes from our environment. It's not, genetics. It's nothing. I mean, yes, there are genetics that play into who you are and things of that nature, but it's mostly nurture. It's not necessarily all nature. Like how you grow up, the people you surround yourself with is how you're going to turn out to be.
You've been reading some books.
Yeah. I love
books. I can tell.
It's just how it is, man.
Big philosophy guy, huh?
Big philosophy guy.
Call him a philosopher.
Never did take philosophy in college. I was always interested in what they did actually in those classes.
Just a lot of talking.
Just a lot. And I figured.
I don't know. I'll never understand it, man. The people that are just stuck in their views and they don't question anything. I just won't understand it.
And you never really will. That's the scary part. You'll never be able to get into the mind. Like I said, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this the other day, but you have 8 billion people in this world, right? And every single individual, 8.2 has a mind of their own. They have their own thinking processes. They have their own way of perceiving things. They have their own traumas that they went through. They have their own life experience. They have their own everything. Like every single individual in this world is not going to be, we'll be similar to each other, but you're never going to be just alike another person, just as similar as somebody else. So it's tough, but, what a heck of a discussion tonight, guys. This was beautiful.
I like it.
And we had a new guest. We
Ron
had
Doe.
Ron Doe come up in here.
Ron Doe. And he says the X-Files was dope. So see?
And now I got to watch the X-Files.
David Duchovny. You ever watch, what was the other one he was in? Californication?
No.
Oh, dude.
Dead.
Dude. Don't talk to me about shows anymore.
Okay.
Telling me to talk about Ozark. Bro, go get on some X-Files and Californication.
Isn't it like Black Mirror? Black Mirror?
Black Mirror is...
Isn't that really good too?
Yeah.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes of that, but I've heard it's really...
That one takes your mind, gets some chopsticks and goes... and you're like, left after every single episode, you're like...
What?
No, it's literally like Neo in the Matrix. Whoa.
I love it. Well...
Here comes that list he doesn't have.
First off, shameless plug.
Boom. Like, comment, share, follow. And especially because my boy Nafe over here actually held up to his end of the bargain, created a list, and now we're going to go through said list.
So, at the end of every episode, I like to kind of come out and let everybody know who we thank, right? Because there are people who sacrifice themselves for this country, for people in general. So I like to come out and say that. So first off, thank you to all military personnel, active duty and retired. Anybody involved in law enforcement, fire and rescue, doctors, nurses, paramedics, hospital staff, farmers, especially farmers, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Those in American manufacturing, anybody bringing back American manufacturing, thank you. Those in social work who are taking care of U.S. citizens, and ethical congressional representatives, thank you for what you do as well.
Keyword being ethical.
Ethical. So there's that. Yes. It didn't take me 20 minutes to go through that list now.
Man, look at you go,
Stepping
Nathan.
up
I'm
in the
so
world.
proud of you.
Thank you.
Like, I'm shedding a single tear. He finally did it. He finally did it.
I do want to touch up on one quick comment here before we log off. Combination of the nature and nurture determine your epigenetic changes. So yes, I would agree with that as well.
Epigenetic? Or is it enigmatic? I can't see that far.
It's genetic with EPI in the beginning.
Epigenetic.
Yes.
Yes.
That. I'm horrible at pronouncing words.
Do you know what epigenetic means?
Rondo. I would say just like the natural makeup of your genes, but I have no idea.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because I have no idea myself.
Bro, I just got the name. Rondo. Get
Rondo.
it? Rondo. Like Rondo? Rajon Rondo? Is that what you're going for?
Oh, is that what you're going for on that?
He just dishing dimes.
Dishing dimes, yeah.
Dishing dimes.
I do like that. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. You know, it is a mix between nature and nurture, but I would still argue that a lot more of it comes from nurture, just because your environment creates who you are.
I disagree, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because nature and the centuries of programming that people go through. Because think about it, you're programming your DNA with every single generation.
Right.
Just like the experiment with chickens. Have you ever seen that experiment where they would fly shapes over a chicken flock?
Right.
And chickens wouldn't react at all to like a square or a pentagon or anything like that. But then they flew a shadow of a hawk over and the chickens went nuts. Chickens that had been born in captivity, never been outside of a house, never seen a hawk, doesn't know what a hawk is, still reacted to the hawk.
Interesting.
So I think that there is a lot more genetic programming than what you're giving credit to.
I would feel like a lot of like our bodies, our health can be involved a lot in the nature aspect, but I feel like because
the
I
way
look
you
at like
think.
Yeah, I feel like that's
I mean,
more
your brain
nurture,
is a
though.
physical entity of your body, and so how it's been genetically determined will greatly impact how you think, what you do. Why is it that people who are entrepreneurs are more than likely going to have entrepreneur kids?
Right.
And you could argue that, yes,
because they have the environment to grow up in.
My dad's an entrepreneur, but I have this entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
Like, I've never owned my own business, but like I'm going to.
Right.
It's just a matter of time.
Right.
And I don't know when that time is. I'm not saying that I'm going to quit my job or anything like that. I'm saying that one day before I die, I will have my own business.
On your business, yeah.
But it's because of the spirit that I have. You know what I mean? Same thing with like athleticism. Like my dad was a super athlete. I'm not calling myself a super athlete, but I'm more athletic than most.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there's a reason why like LeBron's kids are growing up doing what they're doing.
And Bronny can, go do it between the legs dunk at 6'3".
Yeah, which makes sense. So like, yeah, I can see that for sure. I just knowing from my personal perspective, I feel like it's more of a nurture thing because I've learned I'm actually not very opposite from my parents, but I feel like I've also treaded like a different path from them. But yeah, no, I see exactly
I've definitely
what you're
taken
saying.
My family was all going this way, and I was like, I'm gonna go this way, guys.
So Rondo says, think of it as an on-off switches for your genetics, the difference between good or bad health. So, and yeah, interesting thought there. But yeah, no, this was an incredible episode, y'all. I mean, seriously, we had really good discussion. 124. Hour and
125.
What are we at? An hour and 25 minutes, almost an hour and a half. So it was a heck of an episode.
We're not encroaching on Rogan territory, which we've done.
A few times. But with that being said, one more time,
like, comment, share, follow.
If you haven't done that on all of our platforms,
are you actually participating with the Fact Is podcast?
Exactly. So to Rondo,
we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for coming out
and
checking
Mr.
us
Prophet
out.
Mill. Appreciate y'all coming in here and hanging out with us tonight. To everyone, thank you so much. Just can't thank you all enough because obviously we do this for you guys.
We cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in, giving us your opinions on these different topics that we do, becoming a part of our show and contributing to our discourse here. Because there's only so much discourse that Nafe and I can have.
Yeah.
So your input is appreciated more than you know.
Absolutely. And very well said. Real quick before we log off, I don't know why this just sparked in my head, but Ryan, you remind me, the way you had it. Does anybody remember Malibu's Most Wanted?
Call me B-Rad, bro.
Yes!
I'm B-Rad from Malibu.
B-Rad. Oh,
what was that rap he hit in the car? He was like, traffic, looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of car sick. There's a Ford Maverick. Bro, I told you, major cinephile.
Oh my gosh, yes, great movie. But with that being said,
from Malibu.
thank you all again. Can't thank you all enough. This was the 124th episode of The Fact Is. We were your host, Nate Moses.
And I'm Ryan
I have
Mays.
one more thing to say.
Oh, before we log off, Mr. Stism.
Please, everybody that has a political view or any kind of view, please have your view challenged.
Ooh.
It's the only way that you can build strength within your view.
Listen to people who you agree with, and also listen to people you disagree with. And yeah.
Because we here at The Fact Is believe that we have more in common than what we don't. I truly believe that. We just need to talk about it more.
I was just going to hit that. I was going to let that silence hit there for a second, but you kept talking, so you ruined the moment. But no, absolutely. I 110% back up what those dudes just said.
Appreciate you, Rondo. Be blessed, guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Stay blessed yourself. Like I said, this is the 124th episode of The Fact Is. We're your host, Nate Moses.
And I'm Ryan Mays.
And we will see you all next week for episode 125, 8 p.m. Wednesday. See y'all then.